This is quite an important game.
And well, here we go. It's a best of one. I am right, I think now, aren't I, Pew?
Yep,
Yep.
yep.
It's a best of one. It's the last game before we go into the quarterfinals and the best of threes. It is between Matiz, who is the blue Zerg in the top right, and ROXKISCreed, who's the red turn in the lower left. And I'm SC2 England. My
And
awesome
I'm
co-cast is Pew.
Yep, hey guys. And I just checked Matiz. Even though I don't know his ID, he is Grandmaster, so he's was going to be fairly good, I'd imagine.
Well, we just watched an insane game between Creed and Matiz. Creed and
The Ripper.
the Ripper, who I've never seen play before, but that
No,
was sick.
that was a really like a bit of a slugfest, a really scrappy game between the both of them. I really enjoyed that actually.
It was like 28 minutes long. The trouble is, it's one of those videos where it was just such a good game, but wow, it takes it out of you casting a game
It
like that.
it does. There's a lot of mental stuff you're trying to figure out what's going on, what's going to happen.
It's when you get to like 8 bases and you're like, which base is this? Especially when they're like triple expanding into like 3 different places on the map. So, it's a game of TvZ. And Pewee, what can we expect from the Terran side?
Um, well, as we look at the Terran, like there's a, I know there's like since the patch came out with the Queens, there's like two standard kind of meta games. See, there's something like a one racks command center into Reactor Hellion, or it's like a one racks command center into like extra bio or something else mixed in. Because at the moment, I think it's more important to get the command center than do the pressure with the Hellions or the
Yeah.
early bio, and that seems to be what they're what they want first. So
I mean, the one thing to point out is that obviously Creed in the previous game did go for that one Rax command sent into Helium Banshee, which was actually super effective against the Ripper. It really
it
killed a
was.
lot of drones. I personally thought the Ripper was out with them.
It killed also the third as well for the Banshees, didn't he?
Yeah, so that's where this works so well, because you send the Hellions one way, the Banshees the other, and then the Queens are left torn. Well, what do we defend? And some with the Hellions and well Banshees, you need to have all of the Queens there in order to deal with it. You need like at least 3 Queens to deal with that effectively.
Absolutely, and
And
like
most
that
Zerg players
last.
don't have 6 Queens out early game.
No, that's a good point. And it was so bad as well for the Ripper. He got so close to saving that hatchery just before it died. And
Exactly. I think if that transfuse could have come down, he would have been fine.
yeah,
But
and I know I feel like he just clicked that like attack move and went back to like fighting the Hellions or
yeah,
like going back to macro and his basically in his injects, and he just missed his inject by. He must have had like 2-3 seconds, and he just didn't do it. So that was really disappointing. But we already have a third hatchery down from Matiz, which is a lot more greedier and faster than we've seen so far from the other TVZs.
well, the Overlord came in. It knows the command center's there. That is,
Yeah, but
if you switch to it. So Matiz knows that if that command center's there, there's not going to be much pressure. He also knows the bunker's coming down, and that alone says I'm playing more defensively. So
yeah,
I actually really like that hatchery being that quick. I think that is going to become ever more an increasing responses. Check for the quick command center and then get a third. Because it's not in any way different to, say, a 1-gate expand against Protoss where you'd still get a quick third. Ultimately. What can
yeah,
a Terran put on with one Rax?
nothing. They just the only thing that you can really do is that like little 5 marine push that we've seen Son do, was it? It was Son, wasn't it?
Yeah.
On Entombed.
But
And that
ultimately,
was
five Marines you can deal with say probably about 10 Zerglings,
yeah.
8 to 10 Zerglings, because they haven't reached the critical mass where the surface area is too small of the Zergling attack. And I mean, even with these Hellions coming out, this reactor Hellion build, the Hellions aren't going to be to that third before there's enough Queens out, and he can defend it easily with just one spine. You put a spine
Yeah.
of the third, a spine of the natural, and 2 Queens at each.
One thing that's been going on, like especially after last week's state of the game, where Adra was saying like sometimes you shouldn't really fight the queens, you just run past them and run into the mineral line and just hope to burn the drones.
I think that's a really acceptable way of doing it, because Queens, while they have a good range, their damage output's pretty low.
Yeah, it's absurdly low.
So in which way the queens aren't quicker than Hellions. If you just run them in, especially on the natural, just run them in, take some pot
Yeah.
shots, and
Okay, we
then
have.
go all the way up to the main.
Yeah, and you were right. We actually have two spines. The spine at the natural is far forward, so even if he runs by, he's not going to be in range of that spine.
Also, you've got to
Oh,
remember on this map, there's not enough space behind the mineral. There's no space behind the third mineral line for Hellions to go to,
yes.
which is really critical. We also have the Evo chamber wall off coming here for Matiz, and that doesn't even matter because Creed, he isn't putting on pressure. He's not trying to be aggressive. He's got 2 Hellions and that's it. Well, he's got 4
It's
now,
four.
but he's not trying to push up with them yet. He's got
Not
2
yet.
more. He might go with 6, which could actually pose a bit of a problem. But to be honest, the income we're going to see from Matiz with these extra bases is more than going to make up for it.
Well, we do already have a third command center for Creed as well, so that's already an orbital. He's muling that. He's building SCVs, so his economy is, you know, on par with his opponent at the moment. He just doesn't actually have a third base.
That won't last for too long though. Once because really the first inject is only just finished up for Matiz on the third. Once those injects start really coming into their stride, it becomes a big production point. Is that 3 base circ. And from there, Matiz is going to be able to macro up. So he's getting his Baning Nest, he's getting Lair, he's got the 1-1 on the way.
He has 8 Hellions at the tower.
Yeah, but look at the queen numbers. The queens are going to see them. And this immediately tells them what's going to be happening. They need to get back quickly to be ready to defend this third. The drones may even get pulled, but look at the creep spread. It's fantastic. Suddenly we've got Matiz knowing exactly what's going on, Pew.
Yeah, and there is no way that Creed is going to be able to run past these. This is one Hellion.
1 Hellion for basically just 2 drones is not
good trade.
ideal. The trade's good for Creed ultimately, but the Hellions just didn't do quite enough
Yeah.
to make it worthwhile.
He still got them. He's going to run back to the tower and probably run up through the natural into the main. And at the moment, there are some Banelands morphing, but the queens there's 4 queens at the third right now, so he can run past. But no, he goes for the creep instead.
Which I'm not sure that's the right choice. If you know the extra queens, their creep tumors aren't a scarce resource.
Yeah, well, like if we go back to state of the game last week, Idra was saying there's no point going for the creep tumors because when you have like 4 or 5 creep queens, like you're kind of dedicated to spreading that creep. You want to spread that creep, and nothing's going to really stop you spreading that creep. So I can see where he's come from with this. He just kills 4 creep tumors.
Which is fair enough, but these queens, they've already got more energy for more creep tumors. They can just rebuild them. They're not missing. It's not forcing you to miss an inject, and that's what's critical.
And at the same time, there is a double medevacs with only like 8 marines, 9 marines. So this could be interesting. He does have stim. He doesn't have combat shields, and he has plus. He actually has 1-1, which is nice. Banelands have 1-1 as well, which is always good. And this could be actually quite potent. I don't think Matiz is going to see it. Oh, he does.
He does. He's got
Marines.
a lot of Banelings, to be fair. And the Zerglings are coming in from behind, and this army is just going to get wrecked by Banelings. But the Hellions have got him. They're doing some good damage.
They are. They're forcing the pre-engagement, and there's actually a medevac drop going into the main instead.
The Hellions go down to Banelings. That is, well, it's suddenly leveled up the Lost, and only 12 drones being killed, but the main could be in trouble now.
Okay, Mulisks are in production. They're soon to pop, and we have... Oh, he's going for the Spire, which is something I totally agree with. There'll be 11 Mulisks on the field, and that's it for the next minute and a half or so.
Going for the spawning pool is great as well, but those Banelings do connect, and...
Yeah. And then, of course, the medevacs die to the mutas.
Yes, you're stopping some mutas for quite a while, but... Again, I think Matiz's solution to this, going to Infestors, exactly right. He's got those 11 mutas are able to achieve everything he's going to want to do with Mutalisks.
That's a good point. He actually did hit, like, 11 mutas is the amount that you want. Like, say 10, 11's very good in my opinion.
It's potent against tanks. It's good for harassing, can pick off drops.
There is actually a mule at the third that is on the wrong side and not mining.
And now we do have quite a big lot of Banelings morphing, and...
Can't move too far forward yet. The Marines come out of the bunker, they stim. And we have a lot of Banelings going forward.
That's a massive Baneling hit right there. That was big on its own. And even though the bunker's there, well, there are the two bunkers, but the bailing numbers are getting higher and higher. I think Matiz could take this here. There's the
Yeah, that's what
tanks.
I'm starting to think. It's
Where
like
are
he
the
smells the blood.
tanks? There's only
He's
one.
well, Siege Tech's still 20 seconds away from production. So,
There's
oh,
you can't hold this push without siege tech,
so many Banelins.
and they're just
And
going
he's
for the
just
army.
going for the units.
But it's a good choice. Keep the tank numbers low. You know, there's only one factory here,
Yeah.
and now
Oh, is he going for the last bunker? Get the bunker.
well,
Oh,
the
there's so
Banelings
many
can connect on the
SCVs.
SCVs if he did want to. So
And
that's gonna be fine, and they do. Massive
uh,
amounts of SCVs go down straight away there. 12 SCVs taken down. The bunkers go down. Now you were saying about him going for the army as opposed to anything else. I think that's the right choice.
I think so, because once he kills the army at that third, then he can
Reinforce with
Yeah.
Zerglings, which will be there so fast, and then just use those to clear everything up. And suddenly we've got Creed literally hanging on by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah, and we actually have Matiz on 5 bases as well. So I have no idea who Matiz is, but in my opinion, he's playing pretty solid.
I mean, this all came about though because of that third base, which he
Yeah.
held well enough. It was just fantastic. And here we go. We've got a
And-
big lot of Zerglings in through here. Pew.
And it
Is
doesn't
there-
even matter that there's a tank. He's
He's got
just
too
going
much
for it.
stuff. All those
Banelin's
SCVs
crashing.
getting cleaned up as well.
oh,
Look
oh
at them all go.
Banelins.
The Banelings just like killed pretty much everything. 24
And
workers killed
Tank
now.
goes down, and now there's no tanks in the field, I believe. Yep, 11 Marines and 2 medevacs. That's it.
I mean, the important count is the SCV count. 54 to 68. So Creed isn't completely out of this yet, but Matiz behind all of this, he's double expanded. He's getting up his ultra cab and he's got his hive. He's got adrenal glands on the way.
17 drones in production.
Exactly. He's about to go up to that real money number of drones. Well, he
Yeah,
already is.
that's it now. He doesn't need any more.
He's got more. He can actually afford to get rid of a few, in all honesty, and just redistribute across his bases. But with the 3-3 upgrades coming, once those ultras hit, the infestor's already there, with so few tanks and with only the 2 factories. What can Creed do?
There's not much. You can pretty much hope that his opponent gets a bit cocky and throws away a good engagement for him. I feel like that's it. He has to bank on his opponent making a mistake, I feel.
Exactly, but once these ultras come out, I mean, I think Matiz is doing it exactly right. He's just poking up, getting a good idea of what's going on, but ultimately he knows he's ahead economically by masses. He knows he's ahead in tech. He knows there aren't that many tanks, so just
We have
sit
another
back.
10 drones.
Yeah, that's. I'm not sure he needs that many drones.
That's too many now.
He's getting so many ultras out. He may just even wait for the 3-3 upgrades, to be honest. Go in with 5-3 ultras and, well, fungal growth.
Oh, and here, no.
It's not.
There is a fourth command center, but
I suspect that's going to become a planetary.
there's a possibility that it is in a defensive spot. It's not in, like, you shouldn't really build a billet because it's far forward. It's easy to pick off the SCV. But there is actually a drop at the fourth base.
And
of
this is the problem
Matiz.
with ultras. The ultra just couldn't get in there to deal with it. It's just like can't fit. I'm too far.
It's like drones. It's your turn. And a really good play by Creed there. He actually targeted down the 2 Mutalisks, so he could pick up and fly away, no problem.
It was a nice move. But the problem is, I mean, Matiz is now maxed out. He's got 3 more ultras on the way. He's already got 6, so it's going to take him up to 9 ultralisks. 9 ultras, 14 banes, 31 zerglings, but only 3 infestors. I'd like to have seen a couple more. But I mean, the 3-3 upgrades are about to finish. Adrenal glands is already done. The ultralisk armor upgrade is finished. You're
There is
pushing in-
actually 9 tanks. What is he then?
Yeah,
Sorry.
I was just saying that even with all these tanks, the 5-3 ultras with the banelings and zerglings and infestors are going to be fine.
Yeah.
Even if this
Oh.
push is held, look at the bang.
Oh, look at the choke forced there by the command center, and he's going for lots of infested Terrans thrown down. The Ultra's kind of stuck behind, but
And it is
oh god.
cleaned up, but I mean, 50 zerglings following this up. 5.
Thing is, all the tanks are at the third, so you could just run up the the natural ramp and into the main
Yeah.
pretty easily.
We did have a double drop come down behind this though by Creed, who
Yeah.
yet
He took
again
out-
he's doing this miracle defense of everything.
He's doing really good. He's got a solid supply. And if you look at income loss, units lost, like 18,000 for the Zerg and 11,000 for the Terran. So it is massively in his favor for the amount lost. And we have another push here coming towards the 5th base. And a lot of Zerglings get taken down there as they try to run away.
It's pretty good. I mean, if this base is taken out, which it's gonna be, that actually puts Creed suddenly in a very good spot.
And actually, at the actual 3rd base is under attack now. There are ultras coming to deal with the Marines, but they get picked up and are forced to fly away. And
essentially,
so many
the tank number has got up high enough to really make this a big threat.
9 tanks is a lot of damage. And oh, nice fungal there on the medevacs. And again,
it's always good if you keep the medevac numbers low. Suddenly, the Marines become so much weaker.
Oh yes,
it's actually quite scary.
But Creed is, he's at 180 supply now for 189 of his opponent.
I know, this is exactly the same as last game. Creed somehow coming back from what seems like death.
Oh.
But still, this is impressive play by Creed here. Like, really.
It's very strange play. It seems a bit unorthodox, but it's very good.
It kind of he tricks his opponent into a false sense of security by nearly dying.
Yeah.
And then just somehow comes back, about to win, because essentially Matiz, he's got the problem now of yes, he's got all these ultras, but how do you engage so many tanks?
Look how many drones have been killed at the 4th base.
I know.
It's epic.
And of course, there's only a handful of Zerglings and Banelings able to go back. He does not want to lose this hatchery though, or he's got big problems in terms of income, because the 4th base is up for Creed. It's a planetary, it's not going down anytime soon. And this tank line is just slowly moving forward. And it's going to be scary, Pew. Matiz, he's got to come up with a strategy to deal with this. He is getting that Spire.
I think he's going to surround. He's going to surround, and he's going for it, and the tanks are at the front. There's nothing to buffer between them and the ultras, so I feel like this could be it for Matiz. And it's... oh no.
Well, all the tanks were taken out, which...
That's probably the biggest thing. There's a lot of production cycles gone.
But now, of course, you've got... the Infestors have a lot of energy, so they're going to be able to fungal growth amazingly just like that. Boom. That is how Matiz rolls. And now he's just got that massive resupply flood of Zerglings with some very low health infantry units which just aren't going to survive.
And he is going for the 4th base
but
again.
There goes the double transfuse, triple transfuse. Wow, that is pretty damn good play. How he kept that hatchery up.
That was just enough energy there. That was so close.
Seriously, that was probably the most tense I've ever seen a base stay up. Like, ever. That was beautiful by Matiz.
That was clutch, man.
And yet again, now all those tanks had gone, suddenly this is swinging back to be in Matiz's favour. This is sick. He needs to go and push now, though. He needs to get
I think he should push towards the natural into the main.
Well, ultimately it's not a mining base, but he could take out all of this production facilities, and that's the issue. But the tank number is yet again creeping higher.
And the 4th base did get taken out there, sadly.
Yeah, that is a big shame. I didn't actually spot that. I was too busy looking at the tank numbers, and well, the ultra numbers are getting higher. The Great Aspire is on the way, and ultimately Matiz, he's getting to a position where he's going to need this Broodlord Ultra Infestor army, which you don't say very often.
No.
But it's really the only thing he's got, which is going to be able to combat just so many tanks.
I really feel like he could do so much damage if he just done like a little run by into the main.
Even if it was just say 20, 30 Zerglings.
Yeah. Just target down some depots, some production facilities, get the add-ons. It makes such a big difference.
I mean, even if he picked off all the tech labs on the factories, that would just cut the
Oh my god, that's a good point there. And the factories are really close to each other as well.
Exactly, he could... There's only one which is kind of out the way, but he could pick off 2 straight off.
Okay, we got 1 Broodlord Morphin, and that is it. 2
Morphin.
But he's morphing them barely. Ooh, he's not going to engage with that, no.
No, I don't even know why Matiz is even poking forward and taking hits for nothing. What?
That's all. We got 10 tanks, and obviously the planetary fortress will make such a big deal. But the tanks are a pretty nice concave and spread now, and oh my god,
all of that army is going to get spotted pretty quick, but unfortunately one tank siege is a bit too soon and gives Matiz the warning. But now the broods are out, and even though that scan goes down, those broods are just going to be so effective, especially defending this fourth base.
We got 1 Viking in production, and that is it. We got 6 Corruptors and 3 broods.
I mean,
Yeah,
even the
3
marine
broods.
number's not high enough. Only 27 marines. With the infestors there, that's some huge fungal growth. The ultras, but the broodlords ultimately. The reason for anyone watching the broodlords are so critical is because they shoot broodlings. It forces a tank on siege. Otherwise, you can splash your own army.
Here comes the stim. Oh,
Matiz does need to be careful with those broodlords.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to send them too far forward.
he's pretty much having a little game of back and forth. He's trying to beat the marines so he can get the fungal, and the
Tanks
ultras
weren't
go for it.
sieged.
just before the-
And there's a massive fungal growth on all the tanks. The ultras aren't getting hit, and wow, that could literally cost Creed the game right there.
I think that might be it.
Although having said
I know.
that, we've said that so many times about Creed, that might be it.
Yeah.
He somehow
The
holds
thing is,
it, but
I feel like it would be it if he didn't target, say, the fourth and went towards the natural or whatever. Because it's just so open. There's no bunkers, there's no depots, there's no wall.
Creed
Fair
doing
enough, this
exactly
one
the
is the
same thing he
main.
does every game. He loses most of his army and then goes to counter-attack the other side of the map. And it's just
And
brilliant. He's going to knock out this fourth base yet again and rapidly.
we do have a
Matiz-
couple queens.
But there's just so many marauders there. That base is going to go. The transfuses do chain, but no, it's down.
Oh.
And while the force is going to get cleaned up,
Fungal.
losing that both
And-
is a big problem. But look at the crops numbers; they're really high. Getting those medevacs is good as well.
And Creed is expanding to his 5th base.
Luckily, though,
it looks
Matiz
like
has learned from previously that don't send all your army there, leave something back. There goes the fungal growth, and there's 3 broods there as well. But
nice. And that command center will get spotted by that Zerglin, so that is not a sneak base for Creed.
and this again is going on to an epic long macro game. This is absolutely sick.
It is. It is 190 supply fee 128. Incomes show. Actually, they're so even on incomes. It's a bit strange. And
Definitely.
he's
This is crazy play. The Vikings are getting taken out by the Corruptors. There's so many Broodlords now. And of course the Ultras are there,
Good
the
game.
Infestors there. There's the GG. So, Matiz,
well played. I agree.
that was really good.
That was epic. And as you